Good morning. Got a little something in my throat this morning, but I'm going to talk anyway. So the Lord bless you, and I trust He will always share with you the good news about Jesus, okay? Well, I'm just wondering, have you ever just made a lot of excuses because you didn't want to do something? I have. Well, I'm going to talk to you about somebody who made a lot of excuses, but God said, you do it anyway, Moses. Okay, our man is Moses. Now, Moses was the most special man in the Old Testament. And it was at a time they were killing all the babies, the male babies. That's what they were doing in Egypt. They didn't want them to multiply. So what they did, this mama, she believed God. She wrapped her baby up in a little teeny ark, put him in the river, and then you know what? Pharaoh's own daughter came and found her. And after she did, she wanted him for her own child. So she raised him. And it was just like Pharaoh himself was the leader. But God was in it all along. Well, it got so bad that finally as he raised up, he said, I don't want to be associated anymore with the people of Egypt. I know who I am. I am an Israelite. And I will serve my God. So, you know what? He got so anxious, and he saw one of the men that killed a man out while they were beating him, and he got a rush. He was impetuous. He went out and killed the man, buried him in the sand. Okay, found out now. So he had to run, and he ran to another country called Midian. Oh my. And there he ran until he came to Jethro. And so he made company with Jethro. And so he married Jethro's daughter. And then he got 2 sons. Well, pretty soon he was just content to be a nobody. But God knew where he was. One day he took his sheep up to the top of the mountain, and he said, that bush is not burning. What's the matter with that bush? Never seen a bush like that, and I've been all over the desert. So he got closer, and pretty soon there was a strong voice that came out of the bush and said, Moses, Moses, take your shoes off. You're on holy ground. I took my shoes off, and I said, yes, Lord, yes, yes. He said, I've got work for you to do. What work? He said, I want you to go back to Egypt, and I want you to go to Pharaoh and tell my people, let my people go. Here comes the excuses. You see, he had too much of Moses in the first place. And so he killed a man. God said, oh, I can't use that. So now he's gone the other direction. And the first thing he said, well, who am I to do this? Who am I? What's that sound like? That sounds like self-depreciation. God can't use that. God said that. God made him. So it's like telling God, he doesn't know what he's doing. God knows what he's doing. And he knows who to choose, even though they say, who am I? All right, the next thing then, he came up with another excuse. He said, well, if I did go to Israel, if I did go back to Egypt, he said, and I went to Pharaoh, who would I say sent me? He said, tell him I am. I never heard that name before. I've heard you called a lot of names, Lord, but I never heard I am. He said, you tell him I am. I am. Explain that to me. God is God. God is his own equivalent. You can't even explain him. We try because we have experienced his son Jesus. But yet, how do we define and try to say, here is I am? He said, you do it. And he said, I'll be with your mouth when you do it. He had another excuse. The people won't believe me. He said, I have no reputation. I lost that. I lost my pedigree when I ran away. Why, I've been out of sight for 40 years. God said, go, Moses, go. And the last thing he said, this was, well, I'm not eloquent. I can't talk very plain. And he said, I kind of almost stutter a little bit. I'm slow of speech. And finally, God, he's getting a little tired of the excuses, so he just talked right back to him and said, who made your mouth? Did I not? Did I not make the blind? Did I not make the others? Did I not make them? He said, are you telling me that I didn't make you right? And he said, therefore go and I will be with you. Now, he had another thing. He said, all right, I'll send Aaron. 1,000 times better that he hadn't sent Aaron along with him, because Aaron made the golden calf in Mount Sinai and made the people to sin. Well, what kind of excuses do you make? You know, I just want to talk about Craig a minute. You know, he's always in the background at church. He does more in that church than anybody I know. He cleans. He can do carpentry work. He takes down walls. He prepares the roof. Makes me cry sometimes how much he does. Sometimes he's there in the morning early, and it's hot during the day, and he's working on the outside. He makes no excuses. Why? He wants to serve. Are you making excuses? Is there some reason that you'd rather stay in bed? Nah. Oh, I could tell you about many, many people who do not make excuses. So I trust that's not going to be your position. No, God has called everybody to serve in some capacity. If it's to be a godly mother, God's called you to it. Let God be God in your life. what Moses, the last thing God said to him, take the rod of God in your hand. What was it? Just a stick. But I tell you, it became the rod of God. And with that rod, he stretched it out, and it became God's rod. And one of the best thing is it parted the Red Sea. It isn't the rod, what's in the rod, it's who's got the rod. Bless you this week, and take the rod of God with you. Ruth Polston, like the winds.